Okay, lead us off, good leader, sir.
I never wanted to be leader. Nobody gave me a choice. Anyway,
Nobody elected you.
yeah, nobody elected me. Okay, well, welcome, listeners. Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
To to cells and oh wait, no, I'm sorry. This
Fuck
is
you.
this is there may be salt, and warning, there may be some salt.
There will most definitely be some salt. I would like to say that we're recording this episode before we record the inaugural episode of the series, so
Yup.
so yeah. This is the test run that we've been talking about doing this forever, and we're gonna do this before we do the whole thing. So, deal with it.
Yup. So, I'd kind of propose that well, I guess we should tell people what this even is. I mean, they know from
Red
the title.
Altober. What are we doing?
We are going to talk about the Tales series in general and kind of review maybe each of the games and talk about their strengths and their weaknesses and were they any good?
When you say Tales, do you mean the series of fantasy role-playing games published by Bando Namco Entertainment and developed by its subsidiary Namco Tales Studio?
I mean, you're the one looking at the Wikipedia page right now, so sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what's on the Wikipedia page.
Is it really Bando? I thought it was Banco.
It's gone through a few different names, it looks like.
Oh, wait. Bando... Namco... Fuck it. Whatever.
I don't know what's going on with the audio, but suddenly you're shifting between my ears. It's kind of weird.
Oh, that is very odd.
It's fine. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably not going to be an issue on my end because I'm recording it in mono.
Yeah, it's probably something with Hangouts.
Probably.
We don't live in the same state, listeners, so this is all, a little bit of internet jank getting put together.
Well, I mean, other podcast people do it. I know Total Biscuit's done things like this with various other YouTube celebrities.
I think that this will go fine with the audio. I'm not too worried.
All right, too much meta. Let's talk about the games.
Yeah, so actually really fun backstory for our listeners that don't know. Red and I actually first got to being friends through the Tales series. Isn't that cool? We worked a job together in college. Red was my superior, and I didn't think he liked me very much. But one day we were both at a satellite outlet, and I think you had something up on your computer, and it got us talking about the Tales series. And it turns out it was a big facet of both of our childhoods, and we got to be friends through that and talked about it all the time. And you're the reason I first played Tales of Graces and actually kind of got back into the series. And yeah,
I think what I had up
kind of founded on that.
I think what I had up was probably something about Tales of Graces.
Probably. That'd be about the right timing.
Yeah, because I think I had recently got it and was like, okay, I gotta see what this game is about, and then played it, and then went, what am I doing?
I remember you were in the desert around that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, because you showed me the gameplay, and now I know where you were. So yeah,
Yep.
our entire friendship was kind of founded on talking about the Tales games. So this is actually a pretty cool little roundabout. Fair spoiler warnings: the only game we will not be spoiling in this is Xillia 2 because Red hasn't played all the way through it.
Well, yeah.
Started it.
I haven't played Destiny, Destiny 2, Legendia, or basically anything that was on a PlayStation system that wasn't the 3. So
yeah.
I've played a bit.
Little bits here and there, but no. Why don't you get us started? You wanted to just kind of start off going through kind of the games chronologically.
Yeah, loosely, I guess, because I
Yeah.
don't actually remember the chronological order of their release.
That's why I've got it up, motherfucker.
All right. Well, I do know that I started the Tales series with the first game, Fantasia.
So did I.
And I played it on the Game Boy Advance.
Same. think that's how most Americans have probably played it. Because I don't think did Fantasia come out on any other system in the United States?
It was on the maybe not in the United States, but it came out on was it the NES or the SNES?
It was the Super Famicom that it first came out on.
Oh,
in
jeez.
Japan.
Oh,
yeah, right.
Oh, right. Back when Famicom.
Back when they had a console.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, Christ. Yeah. So that's a throwback.
Right. Well, I mean, like the first Metal Gear was made on, some PC.
Yeah, no, like, boy, because I was thinking it was the NES too. I think there was an NES port.
There was definitely an NES version of it.
Mm-hmm. How old were you when you first played through Fantasia?
I was high school.
Oh, wow.
I remember I had read about it in Game Informer.
Oh, shit.
Or Nintendo Power. I don't remember which. One of the two. And I was like, oh, this sounds cool. And then I recommended it to a friend and said, hey, I think this is a cool game. I haven't played it, though. But I think it's cool. And then I was like, fuck it, I'll buy it. So I got it. And it was a really good game. For being a Game Boy Advance game, which is what I knew it as, I was quite floored by it.
Especially, for the era, especially the amount of depth and complexity in the game, the fact that they got that much of a combat system and even a semi-auto mode in it, it's pretty fantastic, really.
I would when I got into that first battle and went, oh my god, this isn't turn-based? What?
That's pretty much, that was how I felt too. Let me tell you the story of how I acquired my copy of Tales of Fantasia, because it's actually pretty funny.
Okay.
Fantasia was also the first Tales game I ever played. I got it, like most of my GBA games, I had a Romanian friend, and he lived at an adult daycare. His family ran it, and is now not on the up and up. Anyway, he, quote-unquote, sold me a bunch of GBA games for favors, whatever the fuck that means, and I kind of, to be honest... It wasn't
how old
sexual
were you
or anything. I was in this was 6th grade for me.
Wow, so you played it. You played it a lot, quite well before me.
Yeah, no. He just asked me for things like to give him my lunch and shit, and to be honest, I said no, and then didn't give him his games back because I was an asshole. But the two that I got from him were Tales of Fantasia and Golden Sun, and played the shit out of both of those games. Fantasia was one of the first games that I'd played in my life that had a story, and a story in a meaningful way. I didn't play a lot of, my gaming was all over the place. I was in 6th fucking grade. But, Final Fantasy VII was the first game I ever played, and Fantasia was the first game I remember since then. In that gap in between that had a story I cared about, where I actually gave a shit about who was in it and what was going on.
I mean, you jumped from, you started off with something pretty hard.
Yeah. My mother's boyfriend had a copy. That and Simpsons Wrestling, and those were what I played.
Jesus.
But yeah, I remember playing Fantasia and actually being really wrapped up in the story and the characters and trying to set all of their abilities and trying to play all of them in combat. And I just remember the way that, again, it was a story I actually cared about and that I was invested in, like a book, not just, something where I was pressing the buttons and the game would be done.
The opening of the game is actually, looking back on it, I don't think I would find it as powerful today. But back then, I was like, oh, wow. It's pretty tropey, but they did it well.
Absolutely.
You went out to go hunting or something, and then you came back, and your whole fucking village is destroyed, and everyone's dead, and then you find your sisters. I don't remember.
I remember going upstairs and grabbing the knight sword and being fucking pissed, and then they took the knight sword away and I was really mad.
Oh yeah.
Remember grinding pigs for an hour to kill that boar.
Oh, the boars.
But see, the other thing about Fantasia that really surprises me is the fact that, kind of jumping around in the plot, was that apparently Fantasia was released in 1995, which really surprises me. I would have been 2 when that game came out. Christ.
Yeah, I would have been 3.
Fantasia had a villain that was actually likable. That, like, you kind of, or not likable, but you understood why he did what he did.
Well, you understood
at fairly relatable.
End.
Yeah. No, and that's like, I kind of wish that we'd seen more of it earlier, but it was such a twist for my young brain.
Oh, yeah.
He's the bad guy, gotta die. And then you get to the end, you're like, wait, but like, he's not actually that bad. Maybe this could work out for him, please.
Nope, you kill him. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
like, that was a kind of a hot shocker to me, too. It was like, oh, this
was the first
guy
time
isn't
in my
evil.
gaming career
well,
that I felt
he is
that way.
evil.
Yeah.
He is
No, I
evil,
can't.
but not, well, I don't know.
He's evil, but you don't dislike his actions at the very end of it. You go like, I get why you did it, even if you were,
Did
kind
terrible
of
things.
morally objectionable about the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. I also actually want to talk about, like, the, one of the things that really struck me about the game was, so you go back in time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you meet Archie, or Archie, I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Archie.
The half-elf. And, you get that, like, half-elves are second-class citizens in the world. You get that whole lore. And then it's like, oh, well, now we have to go back to the present. And and Archie is like, oh, well, your present is like 100 years from now. I'm gonna miss you guys. I was like, oh.
I remember, like, the number of weird time skips in the game, like, when you think about the, like, past to the future to the present and all the different places they go.
Oh, yeah.
It's real fucking cool, though, and, like, I can't think of a single character in the cast that I didn't at least care about,
Yeah. Wait, who is the archer? I can't remember his name.
Chester.
Chester.
I hit his theme on my first iPod.
I remember, like, the first scene with him is him practicing, because, like, everybody, like, who it was Mint and Cress had gone, Cress, whatever his name is, they changed it. They go back in time and he's stuck in the present, and then they show back up and they're all powerful. And I remember it being weird because he was still, like, level 2 or something. He was some crazy low level when you get back. And so,
forgot about
and then you go and get Archie, and she's like, yay, you're back. And who's this kid? And then, like, there's a scene with him and with Chester and Archie, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm practicing. Why? Because I feel left behind by all of you. It was, I don't know.
I'm only level 2.
It was touching and really, like, I don't know. I thought it was cool.
God.
Especially at the time of, like, this was a Game Boy Advance game to me.
Yeah, no, same. I didn't know that it had been a prior release for, like, a couple of years after that. You actually make an interesting segue with his name, though, about the Fantasia OVA that I watched.
Oh my God,
a year and a half ago. The, like, worst trash interpretation of the game.
Yes, Archie being, like, super slut.
It's like everybody, like, I guess the way I'd describe the OVA, or at least, I don't know if maybe I just got a bad translation or what, but, like, frankly, the OVA was like if somebody wasn't really paying attention to the game and then had to give a class report on it.
Oh, man. I remember watching it and, like, Archie saying something. It was just like, ooh, Cress, wow, what a guy. I really want to get into his pants. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
Something like that. Something that didn't, match up with the...
Yeah, it didn't match with what I had played in any way.
Jeez. It was a hell of an OVA. I can't say that I liked it very much.
No.
Christ.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, the next game that came out in America and also the next one I played was Symphonia on the GameCube, and probably the one that you and I talked about the most.
No, there were other games that had come out before Symphonia.
Did Destiny and Eternia make it to America though? I didn't think they did.
So there was a weird thing with it because blah blah blah. He-Man, Masters of the Universe or whatever's, had a copyright on like Tales of Destiny, the name, and so they had to release. They released one of the games as I think they released it as Tales of Legendia here, and then, but then that wasn't Tales of Legendia. And then they actually made Tales of Legendia, and then they had to change that name. It got complicated, is all I can really remember.
I can confirm this with the wiki. It got complicated.
Yeah. And so, all because of that copyright, they messed up their own game titles in the United States. And then, like, there was Destiny 2, which was supposed to be Legendia 2? I can't remember.
I can't find the answer quickly.
Basically, there was a game that came out, and then the sequel came out, but it was a totally different title and made no sense.
The only thing I know about Destiny is that everybody's got this weird, like, fucking Power Ranger-looking suit that I don't approve of. Like, I've seen 3 different characters in the same exact outfit, and it just confuses me. That's kind of, like, that's my extent of understanding of Tales of Destiny.
Yeah, I mean, again, I never played it, so I can't really speak to it. But yeah, why don't we skip right on ahead to Symphonia, because that is what we both played next.
Yeah. The rest of them are unimportant in North America.
I'm sure that there are people who will disagree with you, but you're right.
I'm sure I just earned myself a salt death.
There will be salt. So do you want to intro Symphonia?
Yeah, Symphonia is one of those games that I've had more complicated feelings about than just about anything else ever. Save that for a minute. But Symphonia, I played on the GameCube, and I didn't actually play it until, I played it actually pretty close to Fantasia. I'm just bad with words because I'm a little bit sick. I remember one of the very first moments in the game where I realized that it was set in the same universe as Fantasia, and I just kind of went like, I think I was in like 8th grade at the time, maybe? And I just remember like making this weird squeal sound that I don't want to replicate because people would turn off this podcast, but like I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
God, Symphonia, that was like, I sunk so many hours into the GameCube version of that game.
Oh, I
can't
did
even
too.
Begin to describe it. It's so, I'll quickly just hit on the first time I played through Symphonia, it was like my best game of all time. And then I played through it again a few years ago when it first got re-released on the PS3, and I thought, wow, this game has gotten really old and didn't age well, and I don't like it that much. And then, a year after that, I watched one of my friends play through it, and I said, well, fuck this noise. But in fairness to the game, it came out in 2003. It was really good for the time. It did a lot of interesting things. Being the first Tales game after Fantasia, I had played the changes to the battle system. Well, right now they feel slow and sluggish and crappy and old. At the time, it felt really new and fast and interesting. The full manual option, the guard, it was all really new and really cool. And
except no free run.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah, I always forget that didn't have a free run because that just seems like such a no-shit thing.
Well, see, I think it was... Well, as a Tales game, had I played, say, like, Abyss before Symphonia, I don't think I would have been able to play Symphonia.
Oh, yeah. No.
Because it being my second Tales game and being the first 3D one that I played... that was just how the battle system was. I didn't really think about free run. When I was playing it, I'd never even considered it.
Older Spencer realizes that my biggest problem with Symphonia is that when playing it, the battle system feels like you have to take a hit to deal 3. So there's a lot of this kind of, take a hit, deal out 3 because that's how many hits you have in your combo, then take a hit, maybe guard if you can, but either way, like, you're going to take damage. The game intends on you taking damage, and compared to some of the newer games, it just feels sluggish. But again, for when it came out, was there anything else like it? Not really. Not over here in America, at least.
That we were at least aware of.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I played around that same time that was that, for lack of a better word, epic.
Yes. I loved that game. And the story was, at the time, I played it in, I think I was a sophomore in high school. And I was playing games like KOTOR 2, and Symphonia was really what I was playing. And yeah, I don't know. It was so kind of moving and spoke a lot about, a lot of, like, every Tales game has themes, and that's very apparent. And the Symphonia themes were like self-sacrifice and racism.
Yeah. And in middle school when I played it, that was pretty hardcore for young Spencer to see and absorb.
Yeah.
The game also had so many of these, like, kind of gut-wrench moments of what just happened. Like when you first fall into Tetheala, when Kratos first betrays you, when you find out Kratos is your dad. Like, all of these moments where you just kind of go, oh.
Or when you kill Marble.
Yeah. Or when you
that
see
was kind
that,
of
like,
a, like,
weird,
oh,
that weird
no,
flesh
what
thing
did I
on
do?
Colette. Yeah. Like, that game went hard from pretty early on.
Yeah, and like, the Chosen is gonna die, and
in retrospect, I wish it had gone harder, but it was a product of its era. I don't think it could have back then.
No. Unfortunately, it hasn't. Yeah, as you said, it hasn't aged well.
Fuck no.
To be fair, though, the port from the PS2 to the PS3 was not done well.
No, the port was especially terrible, and it's the thing more recently in my brain than the GameCube version, but it wasn't helped by a really shitty port that really detailed exactly how poorly it aged.
Yeah.
So
if I was to play it again, I would play it again on the GameCube.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I still have the GameCube version.
Yeah, I do too. I still have my original saves.
So do I, unfortunately.
The one that I played through 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's I look back on the game, and I'd like to say that I still look back on it fondly, because I have so many fond memories of it, but it's still a little too recent through watching through it and playing through it myself and just having a miserable time with the PS3 port.
Yeah.
But, also, in retrospect, I hate to say it, but I kind of feel like if you're going to play the racism self-sacrifice game, as much as it bugs me to say it, I'd rather recommend FFX. I know. Kill me, internet. I deserve to die. I kind of like
Spencer,
FFX
this is a show about Tales, not about Final Fantasy.
I know, but like, you can't deny the comparison.
No. It is very obvious and clear.
And like, they're not nearly the same game, not at all. I'm not going to make that kind of allegation, but the themes are similar enough, and I feel like in retrospect, FFX did it better, although I think going through and playing Symphonia was more fun.
Yeah. I would feel that way mostly because Symphonia is so much more active. Like, I always liked that about the Tales games, that, like, battle, you're doing things other than menus.
And, like, I fucking love me some turn-based and active time battle, but at the end of the day, the Tales games that have done battle really well have done it really well. And it's hard to, like, sorry, it's not an agenda, I promise, but Final Fantasy 15 that recently came out, I mean, fuck me. I want to sit them down with a copy of Graces or Zillia and be like, is this what you were trying to do?
Oh, is it like that?
I feel like they'd just be like, yeah. No, it's just a shitty corruption of it.
Oh.
I mean, it's actually closer to, like, Zestiria, but... yeah. But at this, like I said, I want to show them a copy of, good Tales combat and be like, did you want to just do this? Because this is better.
Oh, man.
Honestly,
though, I would recommend Symphonia if you can get your hands on a GameCube.
Yeah, same. Don't bother with the PS. Like, if you have to choose between either not playing it or playing the PS3 version, just don't play it.
Yeah.
But if you can get your hands on the GameCube version, yeah, play it.
So Spencer, I do have a question for you.
Yeah?
How many copies of Tales of Symphonia do you own?
I actually own less than you, and I know that, because I only own 2 copies of it.
I own 3 copies.
Because
I'm playing the how many times I can buy it game.
I mean, to be fair, like, of all the games you could play, how many times can I buy this with? I feel like for what it gave me emotionally alone, it could, deserve that.
Yeah, I easily sank 500 hours plus into that game.
Yeah, if you look at across like all the playthroughs and including all the times I've watched people play through it, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's regardless of my current feelings on it, I can't deny the impact it's had on my gaming career. So, thank you, Tales Studio.
For that one.
For that one. You don't get a blanket thank you, but
Oh man. Okay, so what have we talked about now?
So after Symphonia, I'm just going to read down the timeline because I know the next one that we're going to have.
It was Abyss next, right?
It was Rebirth, which didn't come to America.
Oh, Rebirth!
And Legendia.
I forgot about that because it was
Legendia
terrible.
Legendia being all the weird, weirdness. The actual PS2 version that was released in America the same year as Abyss. I played like the first 10 minutes of it on an emulator and noped the fuck out. So I'm just going to skip over that one if that's okay.
Of Rebirth?
Of Legendia.
Oh, Legendia.
Yeah. Rebirth is a different issue.
Wasn't Rebirth on the
going
DS?
To note the fuck out of.
Rebirth was the one that had 2 versions, like the full 3D
They did do a
model.
DS port, it looks like. And it was Legendia and Rebirth were both in that 3-line linear motion battle system bullshit that they were promoting. Like they were trying to do the offshoot. Uh-huh. No, it wasn't a DS one. It was PSP that it got released on or re-released on.
Okay.
That's right. That was part of the whole JRPG PSP thing, which actually I'm thankful for, but that's a different topic.
I think I'm thinking about Heart. Or no, it's not Hearts, am I?
No, because Hearts is good. We haven't gotten to that one, though.
Right, I'm just thinking of the whichever one it was that was released on the DS and had like 2 different versions. I think it was Hearts.
Yeah, that might have been.
And then it was re-released as Hearts R.
Yeah, that's right. I see it now.
Yep.
It was released in 2008 on the DS, and then re-released as Heart R in 2013 and 2014. Okay, but yeah, Rebirth. See, it's so unspectacular. So Abyss really is the next one that I think we Westerners have any claim to talk about. And I'll let you start on Abyss because this is where the salt starts for me.
Oh, Abyss is where the salt starts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'll say about Abyss is that the Western, or at least the American version of the game, has the dopest instrumental opening.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
it is so cool. And one day I was like, you know what? I wonder what the Japanese version sounds like because I want to know. And so I loaded it up and I listened to the whole thing and went, "Oh my god, that was terrible."
Yeah.
Like that was the worst one of the worst things I've ever heard.
I think that's the only time we've gotten a better one.
So I mean I listened to the English version of the opening sometimes. It's so cool. And the animations were cool and blah blah blah. I played Abyss in college. I watched it though in high school and I thought it was really good. I liked the characters. Well, One of them was particularly whiny and an
I don't
asshole
want to get out of bed.
and a piece of shit
Who cares if you're a pretty girl?
and just
Buy
generally
me
an unpleasant
things.
person.
I'm just gonna abuse this animal.
Yeah. Oh my god, he was terrible. But I thought that the characters around him and the story that and that it ends up being was so much more powerful that I could forgive the early his shit behavior. And
Fair enough.
And that was the point of the game, was to show how he changes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so, look, I'm going to be honest here. I first played Abyss in, what would it have been? It would have been in 10th grade, because I was given a copy of it in exchange for taking a survey. It's not even a joke. It was a sealed copy, and I just had to take this, 100-question survey about my interests for college.
That's
just,
dope.
giving out games, and it was it took me an hour and a half to do the survey, but I got Tales of the Abyss in a sealed PS2 copy for free, so I played through it in excuse me, sorry everybody, I'm a little bit sick if you couldn't tell. I played through Abyss on the PS2 in one caffeine-riddled weekend. That's not even a joke. It was Friday, half day from school, went home, started Abyss. Monday, didn't go to school. Tuesday, went to school because I was done with Abyss. And I didn't absorb a whole lot about it. I remember just being more Symphonia, good. And just kind of filing it away like that. And I didn't think too hard about it. It was just, one of those sensory experience sort of things.
Yeah.
And then the reason the salt begins is that I ended up getting rid of that copy. I don't remember why or what I was thinking, but I picked up the 3DS version of it a while ago because I wanted to remember whether or not I liked it. And frankly, the 3DS port was not great, but it also wasn't terrible. Wasn't great. Wasn't that bad. The game was kind of atrocious, especially having played newer Tales games before going back to that one. The battle system made me want to die.
Oh, the battle system
pacing and story made me want to perish. If I had to listen to one more bit of spectacular whine, I was going to freak out. The overall experience was just really, really negative. And while I do agree with you of it's the point to see how he grows. And while there are some good characters in it, I also Jade was an asshole too. I didn't really like him. He's just kind of military guy being military guy. And I don't know.
Wait, do you mean Master Bus?
Yeah.
Van.
Yeah,
so I played it with my roommates around it. They gave me no end of hilarious comments and all this shit.
Wasn't
Ion,
that where walking and I don't remember the name of your joke, but you just constantly walk in Tales games.
Oh yes, because I was role playing, because it was a role playing game. Yeah, and one of my roommates had recently come back from Europe, where there is a phone company called Ion.
Oh, jeez.
You can see where this is going.
Okay, so I just looked up the name of the characters because I forgot. Let's be honest here. Tyr was hot and she was cute in the way she acted, but goddamn, the only thing I wanted that entire game was for Ash to just bisect Luke and take over. The second we met Ash, I was like, oh good, Luke's gonna die. And then I was just waiting.
Right.
Waiting, please, Ash, just take this game back. Just grab the reins.
Nope. But wait, I haven't finished my joke.
Oh, but sorry, go, yeah.
So
sorry,
there's a cell phone company called Ion in Europe or Ireland or wherever. And so he's sitting there listening to me playing this game, and everybody's going, Phone Master Ion, and he's just laughing. Because it was all about phonic energy.
Yeah, and see, that was the other bit was like, so a lot of our listeners may not know because we haven't even done a single fucking episode yet besides this one. But Red and I are writers, and we write, and we talk a lot about writing and how writing happens. And Red knows my particular disdain and hate for things like contrived magic sources. And so just this whole sound and the seventh sound, it makes the magic. It drove me fucking nuts, honestly.
Well, it was like resonance, a hyper resonance.
Resonance. Yep. Like,
yeah, it was
again,
weird.
That whole, like, it felt so contrived, and it felt like we needed an idea, which, by the way, looking over the timeline, my least favorite Tales games are usually the ones that come out in bulk. And so Abyss is one of those games where I feel like maybe if they hadn't released another Tales game that year, it would have been better. But I don't know, like, I don't have that much salt about the game, but honestly, like, my memories of it are not very fond, and having recently done the 3DS version, I just kind of have nothing but hate because Ash grabbed the reins. Jesus, take the wheel!
No, that's a different thing.
It's the same thing in Abyss for me.
Well, I mean, he is like the Jesus of the... Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Abyss is just weird. Like, it's just really weird. It got all the weird of Symphonia without being that grounded. You know? Like, Symphonia still felt very, very real and very tangible. And Abyss never felt real to me. I never... And this is, again, keeping in mind...
Well, yeah, because, like, really what are you doing? You're like, taking... Well, we have to lower the crust.
Yeah, it just, like... Everything about the game felt so distant and... Like, they were trying so hard to make it spectacular that they failed to root it and ground it in anything that I could relate to. But also, you know, I played it a couple of years ago, and I've been spoiled by too many really, really great games to, you know... put up with it. For 2005, was it pretty good? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'll say about it? It is the kind of a Tales game issue sometimes of there is an abundance of ideas.
Oh, yeah.
And they shoved all of them in and said, all right, let's make it work. Because there was too much happening.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, absolutely.
Looking back on it now, I mean, you're right. There was the whole thing with, like, the planet is actually, like, floating above its core or something. So they had to lower the crust.
Yeah.
But then there's also all of this, you know, this whole shadow organization that's fucking shit up, I guess. That wasn't really clear. And then the church, and Annis is evil, but not, and Jade is Jade, and I don't know.
It just, like, you know, so the two things that are very characteristic, like, the two things that usually cause a Tales game to fail are, one, an overabundance of ideas because they're so busy shoving ideas in that they forget to make the ideas relate or make sense. It's something that happens with a lot of their games, but most of the time, you know, only half the time is it a problem. The other thing that I feel like Abyss also shows, just nuanced, is Tales really likes, and they started this mostly after Abyss, so this is topical, they'd throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yes.
They'd throw in 100 new ideas and say, you know what, 50 of those really sucked. So what we're going to do is throw out all 100 of them and come up with another 100. And I remember, like, time and time again... I was getting so mad when I was playing new Tales games because I'm like, where's that one thing that you did in the last game that everybody loved? You didn't have to get rid of that too, fuckos. You could have kept it.
What was after Abyss?
After Abyss was Innocence, which we didn't play, and then Vesperia.
Maybe it was Innocence that had the two versions. I can't remember, man. I remember looking it up a long time ago because I was
Innocence
way into the
also
Tales
has
games.
two versions. One on the DS, one on the Vita. It's same as Hearts in that regard.
Okay.
But no, like, it was so weird to me that Abyss had all of these similarities to Symphonia, but it was so completely and utterly different and not really in a good way to me. I know a lot of people love it, and I'm not going to say it's a terrible game or a piece of trash or anything like that. That's just not true, but it didn't stick with me. It wasn't a pleasant experience, and it's not one that I personally could recommend. I do have some salt about everything except the intro track, which was great.
Oh yeah, kind of the best intro until possibly Systeria. But
besides Xillia 2, which you haven't played.
Oh
so
yeah, well, I have watched the intro because I wanted to know, and it was okay.
It's the best.
I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, the Xillia intro is really good too.
Yeah, it is. Fuck yeah, it is.
All right, well let's move on.
We're on to Vesperia.
No, we're gonna talk about Dawn of the New World now.
That came out the same year, so that's acceptable.
Okay.
Actually, 2008 had 3 Tales games, all of which we need to discuss. Dawn of the New World, Vesperia, and Hearts.
So I'll talk about Dawn of the New World.
Oh, please. I have so many opinions about Dawn of the New World that, I'm bursting. This is... You should see my notepad. It just says Dawn of the New World 100 times.
So...
That's my only note.
So I remember when Dawn of the New World came out, I was really not really upset. I was bummed because it came out on the Wii, and I didn't have a Wii. So I watched it like I watched Abyss. And I remember at the time there was I was reading Nintendo Power and looking up everything I could about the Tales games. And I remember the huge controversy that the voice actor who played Lloyd, who did a fantastic job, Scott McGinnis, is that his name?
Scatty, yep.
Didn't come back. And I thought, that's a bummer, but I'll give the game a chance. And so I watched it, and I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It opens, it is set in the same world as Symphonia. It's the world.
It's a short time skip.
Yeah, it's like 2 years.
Yeah.
If that, I think. And the world, the Tetheala and Silverant have, been rejoined, and now we're facing the consequences of that. And it opens in Palmacosta getting destroyed again.
By Lloyd.
By Lloyd,
quote
unquote. But then, you find out that it wasn't Lloyd, and Lloyd's... Ugh. But then you're
let me give
this
you
kid...
the fucking lowdown.
But then you're this kid, but then you're a god.
So you open up and Paul McCoast is getting burned, and you're playing as some pussy-ass bitch who says, I don't want to be scared. And he has, this disorder where he has flashbacks every fucking 10 seconds. I am not shitting you. So my friend Gillis and I played through this game, or we played through a couple of hours of it and then noped the fuck
Oh, yeah,
out.
because then you got to the part where it was Pokemon, and you said, what?
Yeah, the game becomes Pokemon, but literally, we counted in the first 2 hours, there are 11 flashbacks. Basically, literally, something that happens is the character gets told by a guy, you need to man up. And he's like, what? And then it goes to a flashback of the guy telling him, the guy who's still standing in front of him, telling him to man up. And he's like, yeah, just like that guy told me, staring at the guy. That guy's some kind of fucking stupid. The writing is unbearable. It becomes Pokemon. I have never in my life seen a bigger bitch than this main character. He is the worst shit.
You didn't get to the end of the game. And like in Abyss, he gets a lot better.
Does he still have flashback disorder?
Well, see, that's the funny thing, because he doesn't have all of his memories are just fake.
No wonder he needs to remember them so often.
Yeah, so he's not really so the character that you're playing is supposed to be this kid who is from Palmacosta, watches parents get killed, blah 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 blah. That kid never existed. or like that kid died in Palmacosta or something.
I think it was that he died in Palmacosta, yeah.
Yeah, and like so he gets sent to his aunt and uncles or something, and like it's not really their their nephew. Or yeah, nephew. And it's like this defense mechanism that this god has enacted because these scientists showed up to, study him, and he got pissed. And then took one of their bodies and then made it a little kid and then lived the little kid's life again.
Fucking nonsense.
And then you throw the mom into the bed, and then Qui-Gon Booze says that we need to go down to the planet separately.
Because there's these things in his blood that control the Force.
But then you have Marta, and Marta's pretty cool, but like she's actually working for the enemy or something. I mean, like she betrayed him at some point. I can't even remember, man. But the end of the game ridiculous. His name was Emil. Is Emil fighting the god inside of him?
Like a true pussy ass bitch.
No, like it's Emil who is a facade. Emil was like just this thing that the god created as a defense. And what was it, Ratatosk or Ragnarok or something? Ratatosk. Ratatosk created Emil as a cover, as something that he was just going to discard. And the final battle is Emil killing Ratatosk. Which is, in my opinion, really fucking cool.
It is. That's the whole thing, is like everything you tell me about Dawn of the New World is really cool, but it doesn't make up for how fucking miserable it is to get there.
You are correct.
And like I'm totally behind the ideas and the writing there, but I feel like somebody wrote the ideas and they never wrote a script. And like they just, every time they forgot where they were going, they put in a flashback scene, and that's why there's like 100 per hour.
They forgot a lot, didn't they?
They needed to fill like 20 hours, so they just did flashbacks.
Yeah.
And again, why okay, so World of Final Fantasy, it's not an agenda. It's a really good Pokemon-esque game. I'm totally okay with things deciding to be Pokemon. Why the fuck did Symphonia become Pokemon?
Yeah, it was because they didn't want to have a party. Like, I think that they wanted to try out just having two characters. And then they were like, wait, but two characters isn't going to work. Wait, but then you get the party anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if they just had two characters, nobody would have said shit.
Yeah, like, because you get the party anyways, and then the whole monster thing kind of becomes moot because you've got the party.
I don't understand.
I don't either.
I don't understand.
It also bothered me because you had to play New Game Plus to get the the secret ending, and that pisses me off.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where that's where the characters actually end up happy. I'm like, fuck off.
The baby out with the bathwater principle is really, really well shown here too, because in what way is Dawn of the New World like any prior Tales game, and in what way is any following Tales game like Dawn of the New World?
I mean, it had some elements. It had free run.
Yeah.
It's
not the worst thing in the world. It's just really bad.
One thing that it was kind of like that other Tales games have done since was that Dawn of the New World didn't have a world map. And by that, what I mean is it didn't have an overworld where you're running around between, the towns and shit, like in Symphonia. And a lot of people were disappointed by that. But then, like, you get, you have Abyss, which had it, and Vesperia had it. But Vesperia, I think, was the last one to have this world map that you are running around on.
Hearts had a bit of it, but yeah, you're right. I mean, to be honest,
Hearts
I really
did.
but they all came out the same year, so.
Well, maybe not Hearts on the DS, but Hearts on the PS Vita did.
I mean, I really like the more linear approach that they've taken lately. I don't mind linearity in games. I don't mind, like, if it's well done. And if there's a, open enough area for me to go fuck some monsters and move on, like, I'm happy enough.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying that what they've done is bad or anything. I'm just saying that was like...
I'm just reinforcing, it was a cool decision. I will give it that.
Yeah. Well, one thing that they it was kind of an in-between thing, because you would leave the areas, but then you would go to the world map, and then you would select the next area that you're going to. Yeah. So it wasn't quite ready.
No, it was, and also, I didn't play the Wii version ever. I've only ever played parts of the PS3 re-release. I can't imagine the motion controls were fun.
It didn't have motion control.
Comment to that. Oh, so it was just like hold the controller sideways bullshit?
Yep. Or, well, I mean, I think it was intended to use with a nunchuck.
Oh, gotcha.
I actually own it on both the Wii and the PS3.
Oh, that's right. You have the Wii version for...
I actually... One of the good things about... maybe I shouldn't say this. No, I'm going to say it. One of the things about Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World was that it is one of the ways to homebrew a Wii.
Yeah. You're not suggesting anything illegal. You're just saying a truth.
I am.
You just happen to own it.
Yeah. It's still sealed.
Nothing illegal going on here.
It sits on my bureau.
Yep. He really loves Dawn of the New World.
I do. I bought it twice, along with Symphonia, which I bought twice.
Dawn of the New World, Dawn of the New World's one of those games that, when I think about it, my dick goes limp. And, that's kind of the most I have to say about it. It doesn't matter what I'm thinking about or what's happening in my life. If I remember Dawn of the New World happened, I just kind of stop.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, should we talk about a good one, Vesperia?
Good, air quotes.
I mean, I thought it was good. I liked it.
Vesperia has really, really radical ups and downs. There are moments in it that I really, really like, and there's moments in it that I can't understand why any human did that. I actually recently replayed Vesperia. Would have been just a year ago. Would you believe that?
Yeah.
I own it on I don't know why, but I bought a copy of it on Xbox 360 because I needed to own all the American Tales games, even the ones I've already beaten. And I borrowed Social's Xbox 360 and I replayed through it. And there's some really weird moments in it I don't fucking understand. Basically, about 20 hours in, they kind of forget what story they're telling and just kind of drop the beginning and go to a whole different end.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The whole, really, oh, yeah, we got to get the Blastia back for...
We got to get the Blastia back so that Duke is evil. No, he's just killing the killer of the war that happened yesterday, 60 years ago.
God, you're right. I remember being very drunk and then asking you guys, wait, what's happening?
And we replied, I don't know. So, replaying Vesperia sober, I can tell you without a doubt, the game does not make sense. There is not, if you think Vesperia makes sense, listener, you're dumb. Period. The end. It doesn't. It factually, objectively does not make sense. Does that mean there aren't moments in it that I actually, am I willing to admit that, yeah, there's some moments I really like? Absolutely. There's some good moments in it. There's some things that I thought were really interesting. The fact that you're, playing as a very unquestionably bad character.
Oh,
yeah. He does some bad things. He's not a good guy. And
I don't like you, and you're a bad person, so now I'm going to murder you because I'm a vigilante.
Yeah. No, you're playing as a fucked up vigilante, and his friend is an honorable knight, and his sort of love interest is a upright princess that doesn't want to, admit that he's a bad guy. I think it's really interesting the character dynamics they played.
Yeah.
But then,
and the fact
Raven's
that he's
also
no,
a knight
I'm totally
commander.
bad.
What the fuck? Like, I really like some of the things they did. I just wish the game made fucking sense. You know?
But we
I don't
have to
even
make a
dislike the
guild.
gameplay.
Spencer, we need to make a guild.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? You don't need to lead Carol on that much. Carol is one of my least favorite characters in video games.
Yeah.
But, well, he was, and then I replayed it, and I just didn't have the same hatred for him. I don't like him, but, you know.
When we played it, I was like, all right, you know, when we first started it and we were all hating on Carol, it was like, all right, this is fun. And then as it went on, I was like, all right, I mean, he's bad, but he's not that bad. There's worse.
He has his moments.
Yeah.
Vesperia is one of those games where, like, aggregate, I'd call it a wash, because it doesn't, like, again, having recently replayed it, the story does not make any sense, not even with a second comb through. But it doesn't change the fact that there are interesting moments.
Yes, there are definitely interesting moments. The characters are interesting. Their interactions are great. Who was the not elf? What was her name?
Rita.
No, that was the mage.
No? Yeah.
The not elf. They were like...
Oh, Judy.
Judy. Yeah, I like Judy. I mean, I liked Rita. I liked Yuri. I liked Rapide. Well, of course, you have to like Rapide.
Everybody likes Rapide.
Rapide is everything.
You know, actually, that's you reminded me of an interesting point. You know what? One of these days I really want to play, despite my distaste for Vesperia's story, is they remade it on PS3, and there's an English translation, an unofficial translation being done. Supposedly, they drastically changed the story for that port.
Oh.
Like, they cleaned it up, and it's a lot better. People say that it's like the definitive edition. They even added another character, and Flynn becomes a playable character.
Oh.
I'll talk about that in a second, but I'd actually really like to play that version when the English translation's done, because I'd like to see, you know, I can see the world where Vesperia had a great story. I'd like to experience that world. You know?
Wait, Spencer. Should we mention First Strike?
I'll fucking get there.
Okay.
Don't you think I won't get to First Strike?
I haven't seen it, but I know.
So, excuse me, a different point of, if somebody challenges me and says, Vesperia's story makes sense, you're dumb. The entire fucking game, this is just kind of like this is what I think of it. Do you remember how excited we were for the day Flynn finally joined our party?
Oh my god,
Do you remember how we were looking at the extra bed in all the inns and we're like, Flynn's joining this fucking cast, and then we kick his ass in a field and lay down,
Yep.
and then he doesn't join our party ever?
Yep. Well,
What
because,
the fuck?
like, until that game, there had always been 8 people in a party.
Yeah, but also, why the fuck doesn't he fucking join your party?
I know!
Why is Alexei the villain, but he's not the villain?
I mean, I don't even remember Alexei, if I'm perfectly honest.
He's the general knight commander who turns evil, and then you stab him, and Flynn's underling stabs you, so you go into the water, but Duke saves you, so he takes his sword back, but there's the comet meteor, so you gotta fight Duke. Like, what the actual fuck?
Right. And then I was like, right, but when do we get Nan in the party? Because she is way better than Carol.
Yeah, like, what the actual fuck was that story? So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call Vesperia terrible. I mean, for all of the bitching I could do about the story, like I said, it has its moments. I'm not going to dispute that. But
First Strike.
Big fucking but here. You know, the story is nonsense. First Strike. Let's fucking talk about First Strike. First Strike is the movie prequel they did to Vesperia. It is madness. It is the best madness I have ever seen in my life. I wish my life were Tales of Vesperia First Strike. So, let me fucking tell you motherfuckers about First Strike, right? It's set just before the events of Vesperia.
Like, how long
has
before?
Nothing. Like, it's not ever... Because Rapide's a puppy and tiny, and Yuri's still a knight, but, like, they imply that after, like, right as the movie ends, the game starts, because Yuri's walking home to where the game opens. So, like... It's one of those, it happened years before, but it happened only yesterday.
Gotcha.
So, like, the story is supposed to explain how the events of Vesperia got rolling, which that's like explaining how a hurricane, like, it's reconstructing a house that was hit by a hurricane. You don't, okay? Like, you don't get to point to this splinter and be like, that's the main beam, which is kind of what First Strike does. It is nothing but weird tropes and nonsense, and Yuri stabs a puppy and like...
What?
Yeah, like... Rapide gets his pipe from Yuri's old commander, who dies in a sacrifice, and Rapide's fellow litter, they get infected by a thing, and Yuri and his friends have to stab the dogs and kill him in front of Rapide, and that's why he's old and grizzled. Like, the level of
That's why he became
Snake? Yeah, like, the level of insanity is nuts. At the very end, Rapide picks up a pipe that Yuri's leader left because it was his, and Yuri picks up his... So, Yuri and Flynn's commander sacrifices his life for the two of them and Rapide. Rapide picks up his pipe. Yuri picks up his sword. Here's the problem. The commander's sword that Yuri leaves the town with is Flynn's sword at the start of the game.
Awkward.
So, like, the level of that doesn't make sense, wait, stop going on. At the end of First Strike, Flynn has Yuri's sword, and Yuri has Flynn's sword, and Rapide stole the pipe and smokes because Yuri's old master smoked and sacrificed himself for Yuri. But Yuri sleeps in the barn with the puppies. Oh, God, yeah. Sorry, I didn't actually mean to spoil the movie for you, but frankly...
I don't think I was ever going to watch it, so...
You're going to watch it with me one day.
Okay,
We're gonna do it on There May Be Salt, the four of us.
Oh, on that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we could.
Okay.
But no, like, frankly, you could know every event that happens in the movie and it would not change for you the movie. First Strike is the worst thing. Like, hands down, no fucking excuses. It is the worst thing I have ever watched, and it is my favorite thing I've ever watched.
Wait. It's worse than Dawn of the Shepherd?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dawn of the Shepherd is just insulting. At least, it's exactly as coherent as the start of the game.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we should move on.
Yeah, let's talk about Hearts.
Hearts.
You haven't finished it, right?
I have not finished it, so let's not get into too many spoilers, but...
We won't, but, the game made me cry a lot.
Yeah, it's
really good.
You even said it, of, like, what they're doing is insanity and makes no sense at all, and their powers are, like, what even? But it's... The characters are so real and so powerful that you just go with it.
So, like, let me give you listeners the lowdown on Hearts because it really undersold. And if you're going to play it, play the PS Vita version of it. I actually genuinely recommend it. Hearts is... 2008 was the year of Tails Makes No Fucking Sense, which, like, kind of okay with it. I guess everybody's got to have those years. So Hearts is a story tale metaphor of sorts, but like that's the loose premise and it doesn't stick to it at all.
Yeah.
Everything that happens in that game is fucking nonsense and not in any way related to anything else that happens in the game. But the characters in the game interact with each other so realistically and act so realistically towards the events, like they take it so seriously that you start to get really invested in the nonsense. And like that is, the best kind of writing is where the writing is trash, but you really care about it because of the characters.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to describe like the pain of watching Beryl languish over Core, the like happiness I had at restoring each one of Kohaku's emotions. Like every single bit of that game was just phenomenally satisfying to me until I thought too hard about it. So do yourself a favor, pick up Hearts, don't think about it. Just
play it, just experience the characters and then walk away.
The second you start to think about it, you're going to go, what the fuck am I playing this for? And then you're going to really miss out.
Wait, and I went into her brain?
What the fuck is going on? why is her hat the shoe? Yeah, just don't worry about it too hard. And, like, it doesn't get any better. Like, I'm going to be straight with you, Oliver. It starts to make a lot less sense at the end. Like, I just criticized Vesperia for not making sense, but, like, to be frank, Hearts kind of gets more nonsense.
I can believe it.
But it's weird, because the more nonsense Hearts gets, the more you care. Yeah. Hearts is kind of one I have to brush over because, like, I experienced it. I played it all very close together, and I didn't think too hard about it because you can't, but I really enjoyed it. I have a Tales of Graces poster in my room, and it's something that I look forward to
Tales of
playing
Hearts?
one day. Oh, yeah. Well, both. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean both, but...
Tales of Hearts is a game I just really enjoyed, despite the fact that, by all accounts, I shouldn't. And I'm sure if I didn't already lose credibility by shit-talking First Strike on the internet, I'm sure I just lost all credibility. But, you know, hear me out. It's kind of a nonsense shitty game, but it's actually really good. The gameplay's also kind of a mess. It's a return to Symphonia form, but not really in a good way.
So, I have a theory about why the combat was so weird in the PS Vita. And it's because in the DS version of the game, it was 2D. Mm-hmm. The battles were 2D. So it was sort of like Fantasia. But they wanted to add a third sort of element, or, a third direction to make it not really 3D. But so it was all focused on aerial combat. You would make aerial combos, and that was how you fought in a 2D plane. So you see what this is kind of getting at.
Yeah.
And then when they brought it over into 3D on the PS Vita, they wanted to keep the aerial part. Aerial part doesn't work very well in 3D.
No.
Especially with their battle system. So the combat was just a mess.
Yeah. It's really not good. I'm not
so just mash buttons until you win, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like, set it to the easiest difficulty and just experience the characters through the story. Don't try too hard. It's not a great game. It's a solid D+. But, like,
it was also the second game with flying whales, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with Vesperia being the first game with a flying whale.
Yeah, both in the same year.
Hey, fancy that.
Yeah, but really, it's a really good game. It's not a long Tales game either. Like, Tales games aren't all the same, like, monstrous length of each other. You can beat Hearts pretty fast.
Yeah,
you can beat Hearts pretty fast, and it's worth the limited little bit of time. I mean, yeah, I won't harp on about it too long, but I think it's at least worth touching over. It's a pretty good title.
Yeah, I need to finish it.
You do.
Really do.
But before you finish Hearts, we need to finish talking about Graces.
You mean start talking about Graces, and I want to take this one.
Oh, please. You're the best at Graces.
Okay, so Graces was the first Tales game I actually played after Symphonia. Because
that's right.
It was I played Symphonia. I loved Symphonia. I was in high school, had a great time. I played it, up until I left for college. Because when I went to college, I didn't bring my GameCube. And so I didn't, I didn't have a console in college is really what it came down to. And then my sophomore year, I bought a PS3 off of somebody. And I was in a GameStop. And I was just hanging out in the PS3 section, just looking at games. And I went, wait a second. Tales of Graces? They came out with a Tales game and I didn't know it? What? Because, I was tracking Tales games all the time. But when I went to college, I stopped. So, Tales of Graces came out and I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what to expect, so I just bought it right there.
And that was the PS3 version, yeah?
Yes, that was the PS3 version.
Gotcha.
Right, because it came out on the Wii first, didn't it?
In 2009, yep. And that was without Lineage and Legacies.
Weird then that I didn't know about it.
They
Oh
were
no,
not
I
proud
probably
of it.
knew about it, but didn't know that it had been re-released
Oh, yeah.
because I didn't have a Wii. So I just, I probably did not, know about it, or I knew about it, but like, yeah. So anyway, I get Tales of Grace's F, and I start playing it, and I go, "Oh my god, what am I doing? Who are these kids?"
Tales of Friendship.
Yes. So the game, in case anybody doesn't know what the theme is, it's friendship.
Tales of Richard.
Tales of Richard is my friend.
Tales of Richard. Tales of Grace's F. More like Tales of Richard Friendship.
Oh my god. Because, like, the beginning of the game is you being a bunch of kids and you find this other, as kids you think is another kid, except she's, not a kid, she's an android. And we'll gloss over that part. And then you like, go to the capital, which is, like, 10 minutes away. and you're hanging out with your friend who's, like, the prince. And then you end up in this creepy, scary dungeon under the palace, and then there's this monster thing that attacks you, and you get knocked out, and then the next thing you know, your brother's being sold off to another country. You're going to be a knight, and Richard, your friend, is nowhere to be found. Also, your other friend died. So yeah, that's how that game opens. From that point on, it becomes... Well, I spent like a day with Richard, so I trust him. He's my friend. Meanwhile, everybody around you, all your friends are like, your actual friends are like, dude, Richard's not good anymore. Like, we need to stop him. He's
Didn't
fucking
you see him
insane.
repeatedly stab that man?
Like, have you seen what he's doing? He's insane. And Asbel is just going, no, Richard's my friend. I know this because I spent a day with him.
He lived in my house for a day when I was a kid.
Yes, that's right. That's what it was.
We fell off a cliff together because he was a sourpuss.
God. So, that game was hard to get through. It did feature one of the coolest characters maybe ever in a Tales game, Malik. Because Malik was a man who gave no fucks and had a boomerang sword.
An old man that gave no fucks.
Well, old is quote unquote because in Japan, anybody over the age of like 17 is called old in video games. So, whatever.
The other character who's a standout in Grace's fuck off world is Sharia.
Yes. Sharia deserved
Most
a better
patient,
game.
loving human.
And oh my god, the fucking Pascal.
So
made
let
me want
fucking
to
tell
kill.
you motherfuckers about what this guy says to me when he's first playing through Graces. He tells me, no, stick with it because the expansion is really good.
Oh yeah, because I get to lineages and it actually becomes good.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, this is some deep ass shit. I should keep playing, and I keep playing, and I'm like, yeah, when did this get good? And then I stopped playing.
And then you stopped. But we'll finish the story of Lineage and Legacies in a minute here. So, the first time I ever played Graces was drunk at Red's house, which is how most of my college stories start, come to think of it. But I went out and bought a copy, actually, and my college roommate and I played through it. He was a sort of Tales fan. We both had a really middling time with all of it, and we started Lineage and Legacies and didn't finish it. It was not actually... I think I got to like the exact same point that you did before I
Yes,
stopped.
you get to the planet.
It was not until it was a couple of years ago that I decided out of the blue I was going to replay Graces because I wanted to get back into Lineage and Legacies, kind of gradually. So I replayed the game, and I have to admit that when you know what it is, it's not nearly as bad, but goddamn the shock of what the fuck are these kids talking about? Why is this Tales of Friendship the first time around? It's pretty severe.
Yeah.
It's a lot better when you know it's coming and you can expect it, but no.
Oh, it also
Why?
featured some great lines in the battle. It's on par with my personal favorite, which is from Trails in the or Trails of Cold Steel. You know, Machias when he does the which crap is, I think it's the petrify, his petrify shot. He goes, whoop yo ass. No, but so Hubert, it's Hubert, right? Not Herbert. I can't remember.
It's Hubert.
It's Hubert.
You're
Okay.
right.
Hubert, I don't actually know what he's saying because because the move says it's like something waltz, and every time he says the name of the move, all I hear is instant balls.
I can verify this. That's also what I've always heard.
It's just instant balls.
Yeah, instant balls.
So,
Oliver, why don't you tell the good folks about how great Lineage and Legacies is?
So Lineage and Legacies starts off real strong.
Yeah,
it is.
It really does.
It is Sophie, who is the android who will never die, asking Asbel, "What's gonna happen to me? Am I ever gonna die? And what happens to you when you die?" And Asbel not really having an answer.
What am I going to do when all of you are dead?
Yeah, and she's just like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, I mean, you can watch over my family forever, which is the worst fate I could imagine.
Yeah, seriously.
Because then she's going to be that woman who knows literally everything about your family. And like she's going to be like either the best or worst Canadian grandmother ever. Because she'll know all the secrets.
Oh god, that's the best way to describe it.
But so we have to talk about how Grace's ends, because it ends with a scene of Sophie basically playing with Asbel's great grandson or something.
Well, it doesn't look like his great grandson. It looks like, because it's like fucking palette swapped as hell. It looks like, oh, that's Asbel and Sharia's child, and Sophie got older.
Right, but that's like actually supposed to be like way in the future, is what I understood.
That comes in Lineage and Legacies.
Oh,
because the ending to both are the exact same.
Yeah, well, that was the point that I was making, was that like they just took the same scene and did it again, and I was like, what?
And Sophie doesn't age. Excuse me. She just fuses with another enemy and is suddenly old with boobs.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, fucking Lineage and Legacies is the hardest catfish I've ever had in games. Where it's like, no, really, we're this super great game and super in-depth and you're gonna love us. And I'm like, I'll sink in the 2 hours, and then there's this terrible maze puzzle that made me just like scream.
And then when it started shooting lasers at
ending.
you?
God, no, it's the one right after that where you're on the planet and it's that weird forest maze with the invisible bees or whatever.
Oh. Because I remember the forest maze was annoying, but fine. For me,
I just remember the fuck bears, and then right after that, there's that weird
bears.
spot where like you got to turn on the different energies and
Oh
shit.
god, yeah.
Yeah, just was kind of unpleasant.
I will say though, I mean, so we've been ragging on Grace's for a while now. Yeah. I will say though, Grace's was the best combat I had ever played in a Tales game.
For sure. Arguably, like, one of the best combat systems I'd ever played in a game, period.
Yeah, it was so well done. It was so much faster than a Tales game had ever been before. But
the point was to not get hit, and that was totally feasible.
Yeah, because if you got hit, you got stuck in a combo, and if you got stuck in a combo, you died.
I've beaten the final form of Richard in the base game on Nightmare without taking a hit, just so y'all know.
Because it's designed to do that. You can.
Yeah, no, and like no matter how hard the game ramps it up, you can just get good. It's totally doable, and I love that. It's a really well done combat system.
Yeah.
And
So
also, for all of my ragging, I'd still recommend you play the base game, Lineage and Legacies, and like play the first hour of Lineage and Legacies and then stop. You're gonna have a good time.
you don't want to be disappointed.
No, just like play through the entire base game now that you've had our warning, and then play through the first hour of Lineage and Legacies, and you're gonna be like, damn, that was solid.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I mean, the combat made it worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, had the combat been, heck, if it had been like Vesperia,
Oh,
I
would never.
I would have
gotten
walked
through the
away.
game.
I never
Yeah.
would have finished that.
No, it's just a fun game to play though, because the combat kicks ass.
Oh
So,
yeah,
even
like
when the
there hit a
story's
point
pissing
where I
you
was like,
off-
I would rather be in combat than this story.
oh yeah, no, like
I am advancing the combat to get to better enemies because I want to fight them.
no, like the combat was just like every time I'd get mad at the Richard Asbell friendship fuckfest, I'd just go out
The
and
friendship
grind some
fuckfest
monsters.
gift.
Yeah, like I just seriously like, okay, just gonna go grind some shit for an hour and then I'll be happy again.
Yeah.
It was just a really like overall it was still pretty solid.
Yeah. Oh man. What's after Graces? Is it Zillia?
It is.
I love Zillia.
Yeah, do you know how many fucking times I've played through Zillia now?
More than me,
Like,
because I have not
fucking real
actually
talk?
played it more than once. Well,
I got Zillia on release day
yes,
in
so did I.
2011. You and I got it together. You were the reason I pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me fucking count. Do I get to count the times that I've watched people, like I've sat on the couch with somebody playing through the game?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so I have played through Zillia 7 times.
Nice.
I love that game.
I do
It
too.
it is terrific. Any negative thing I have to say about the game, I don't want to say because it just feels petty to me. Like, the characters are phenomenal and really well done. Like, even better than Hearts, where I just feel really believable and into what they're doing and their struggle. The writing is pretty top-notch and solid. The character designs are a little, JRPG-y, for lack of a better word, where some of the outfits could use some tweaking and some work, but who gives a shit? The entire world is really well done. The world feels a little empty and barren in towns and shit, and
Yeah.
it is a little bit linear, but, like, I don't give a shit about the linearity, and frankly, if I have to choose between a million NPCs that don't say anything valuable or 2 NPCs that do, I'll take the 2 any day. You know?
I was a little bit annoyed that they'd done that, actually. Or rather, that they had, tried to fill the cities and towns with more. It felt weird because it seemed
yeah.
like they were trying to to make the cities feel more alive, but then severely limited it. And and Christina has reminded me of the best line in every town that you would hear on repeat. Mutton, fresh mutton.
Correct.
I've been waiting for it in Berseria. I really want to hear it. But I know.
But don't fucking forget, the other one is seriously, you'd walk by all the merchants and you'd just hear, just
Oh, yeah.
out of all of them all the time. It was just fucking bad. Like,
so,
they tried to
the-
make the
the-
city seem big with a bunch of noise, but, like,
Yeah,
clearly,
and then they limited it so much by having only certain NPCs talkable. And then it kind of broke my imagining of it, when they put the speech bubbles over them. I'm like,
No, and the limited range of motion, the pop-ins, like, it was not a, technically speaking, well-done game.
I mean, I think it was, from a technical standpoint, I actually think that it was pretty well done. They were just limited in what they could do.
That's more of what I mean. You said it better. Like, it's on the technical side, like, everything that's there is, it's there and it's good. There's just some things that I really wish, like, there's those extra mile things that I really had wished for, like, more meaningful NPCs.
Yeah.
I wish that I didn't walk into a room and then the room appeared on a few levels. There were a few dungeons that got a little copy-pasty, but like, who gives a shit? It was still overall, like, it was good enough for me to play through it 7 fucking times, so, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it was really the story and the characters doing it for me. Because the combat...
I'm going to say the battle system, I actually really liked it. It
was
a return to form like Symphonia in a good way.
Oh, yeah. I love
It feels
the
like
combat
what they
itself.
wanted the combat to always be.
Yeah. Like, the switching in and out of characters, so smooth.
Speaking of baby out with the bathwater, where the fuck's that been, guys?
Yeah. You hear
You
that?
nailed it in 2011.
So, like, that was phenomenal to me. I loved that combat system. But you know what really sucked to me?
Huh.
It was, like, more than in any other Tales game. I was like, I am playing Tales of palette swaps.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
But,
every
other thing is...
every other overworld area, well, not overworld, like, you know, connecting world area, it was just filled with the same fucking enemies.
It was a lot of palette swaps, but at least they did a little bit on the designs, you know? Like, it wasn't just straight palette swaps. They did a little bit of work.
A little bit.
I'd rather have that little bit of work than just palette swaps, you know?
Yeah. But
so at least it was more than the bare minimum.
Functionally wise, they were the same enemies, just buffed.
Exactly.
Which,
and I didn't like that.
Yeah, if they had given the enemies, you know, maybe a new move set or something.
They were trying to tie it to each character has their specific thing they're great at, and like,
yeah,
I'm okay with that and I get it, but at the same time, yeah, like, when I'm playing back through it, I use the double experience in the grade shop and everything.
Oh,
because it's just kind of miserable to, you know, grind out the same enemy 60 levels later. But all that aside, you know, like, I'm nitpicking right now. It's a great game.
Well, if we're gonna nitpick, I'm gonna mention the shops because fuck
yeah,
that.
that's fair. You know, I liked the shops when it came out, but as time has gone on, I think around playthrough 4, I was like, fuck it, Oliver's right.
Yeah, because I even told you, like, early on, I think. I was like, dude, I don't like the shops. I think they're really shitty.
That was like one of the first things you said.
And you said, nah, they're great. And then later you came back to me and you were like, yeah, dude, you were right.
Yeah,
they were shitty.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the one other thing though, I want to in talking about Zillia on a really positive note, I have been through both characters' modes multiple times, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt that they are different experiences. Like, sometimes it's only minor, but sometimes it's the major scenes that are different, sure, but there are minor details that are substantially different between the two characters in a really good way. There's sections that are identical, but there's a lot of little tiny things that are different. There's different skits that are available. It really is a different experience and in a good way, and you don't need to play through both to get the full experience of the game, but if you do play through both, it'll benefit you, you know?
I would say that Zillia is probably the one Tales game that, like, needs to be played through twice.
Yeah.
And was, you know, meant to be. And that
I
you
agree.
should.
Like, yeah, you don't have to, but why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's worth it, and it's not gonna, like, I've heard a lot of people that didn't want to play through it a second time because they didn't want to just have the identical experience. It's not identical. It's really not. It's really good. Just do it. Let me, like, real briefly, like, spoiler-free hit on that Zillia 2, though.
Okay. Can I say something?
Oh, please.
So, I remember when you got Zillia 2 and you started playing it. I got it as well, but I didn't start playing it. I still haven't played it. I still haven't unwrapped it.
I played it for my birthday.
Oh. I remember you saying early on when you were playing it, bro, this is shitty. And then when you finished it, you went, bro, that was the best game.
Yeah, well, let's not forget here that, like, I said, wow, this is kind of shitty when I was an hour in, and then you didn't hear from me for 2 fucking days, and then I said, so I finished it, and it's great.
Yeah, you are right.
So, for the record, Zillia 2 is in my top 5 favorite games of all time. It is above Life is Strange. It is, like, let me just be honest here. It's got some serious jank to it, There's some really questionable shit that happened with the baby out with the bathwater, but...
Which you shouldn't do if you're doing a direct sequel.
No, fuck no. Like, I don't understand it. But you know what? All of that aside, Xillia 2 is one of those sequels that, like, it's the core principle of a sequel to me. A sequel should give you something you didn't know you wanted. It shouldn't just give you more of the former thing, because, you know, you can get that by just replaying it. It should give you something that you didn't know how bad you needed it or wanted it until you got it. That's what Xillia 2 did for me. And honestly, like, the events of Xillia 2, and I don't just mean, like, the main story events, I mean, like, the day-to-day, like, going places, doing things, dialogue lines in cities, it has stuck with me in a way that most things, like, things altogether, not just games, don't stick with me. It's a really great game. I'm not gonna... Even if we had both played through it, I wouldn't want to spoil it here just because it's such an experience that everybody should go have. Just like, put this podcast on pause,
go play
Xillia 2, and then come back. And, like, you're probably going to be, like, not wanting to talk about how right I am, but told you so. So,
all right.
Anyway, so the next thing...
No.
I've got the perfect intro for this.
I want to stop you for a moment, because I want to go get some water.
Okay. You know what? I could stand to pee.
Okay.
I can cut this out pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to cut
right
this
back.
bit out of us talking about cutting it out, are we?
Oh, fuck no.
Of course not.
Who do you think I am?
I mean, you're not even going to cut this out, are you?
I, for one, had needed to pee since Vesperia. Ah, shit, you missed my clever joke.
Wait. You can do it again.
I, for one, have needed to pee since Vesperia.
Oh.
It wasn't a great joke. Okay, so I have the perfect opening for Tales of Zestiria. Perfect.
Well, can I say first that I really, 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 really liked the Japanese intro, Tales of Zestiria.
Yeah, it was way better than the American one.
Yeah.
In every way.
Every single one.
I actually learned how to play it on guitar.
Dope. You also
it was
learned
okay.
the Ring a Bell one,
opening.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. That was
Yep, I know a
Vesperia's
few
was
of them.
good too. I like that one.
Yeah. The full version is not as good as the one they did in the intro, but, like, the intro one is solid as fuck.
Yeah.
The full version is like 5 minutes long and just goes on too long.
Well, I
It's
mean,
not
it was
actually
a
5
real
minutes.
song.
Yeah. It was a little too long. But okay, so perfect opening. I have rehearsed this.
Okay.
Tales of Zestiria came out on the 20th anniversary of the Tales series. And in honor of the 20-year anniversary of the Tales series, Namco Bandi decided to shit in our mouths. Okay, so I think we can move on to Berseria now.
No, we have to kill this game.
Oh, it already killed itself right after it shit in my mouth.
So let me set the stage.
Welcome to There May Be Salt.
Let me set the stage. You are Saray, a dude who really doesn't want to be doing anything other than exploring ruins. You live in a village that nobody else can see. And then this girl shows up one day and is like, hey, I need somebody to save, like, everything. And you go, okay, I guess.
Let me set the stage. You're a fucking idiot, crazy village man, living up in the mountains alone, who kidnaps a girl.
Oh, God.
You know what would have been perfect? So, like, in real talk, before I go on my little tangent here, Zestiria is nonsense. It is a nonsense bullshit game. Nothing makes sense. They were out of ideas. There is no continuity.
Dude, they were out of ideas before they began.
Yeah, like, the opening is solid. The opening, like, hour is, yeah, I could get behind this game. And then they proceed to just shit the bed again and again and again. And they don't even realize what they're doing. They make bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. The game ends in a ridiculous place from where it began. It's the whole thing about what I was talking about with Vesperia of it doesn't really make sense beginning to end. That on, like, a million steroids and a Russian powerlifting workout is Zestiria. It is complete fucking nonsense. This is the level of nonsense it was. Up until the last 5 minutes of the game, I was rooting for it to all have been in Soray's head, and he was just crazy. That would have been the perfect end, is just, actually, Soray's just jacking it in the mountains and kidnapped this poor girl, and this story didn't really happen. What, you think there's actually some salty lolly girl with a dragon brother? Are you stupid? Like, if the game had just actually shit in my mouth... You
sounded exactly like the salty lolly.
Yeah, if the game had actually had that much contempt for me, I would have liked it. But instead, you know what we got? Right where I wanted, oh, Soray's just crazy, you know what I got instead? I got fucking Gramps' hand.
Please show an image of Gramps' hand for those on YouTube.
I will do my best to find it. If I can't, I'll just go replay the final boss. Gramps' hand is where Kittybeard, the main enemy, as he is affectionately called by the main cast, because there's nothing as threatening as goddamn fucking Kittybeard. He's stolen your grandfather and fused him into his hand, and so, like, in the final level, you're looking for him and seeing what happened, and... he's just like, is this who you're looking for, to Soray? And he puts forward his hand, and your grandfather's face is in the palm of his hand screaming at you.
Now, let's keep in mind that this is what we're talking about right now is the end of the game. That entire concept of taking this being and fusing it with yourself, it has never come up before.
Nope, just Gramps now.
And then suddenly it's there.
Look, like, if you haven't played Zestiria, you have no idea what batshit we're talking about, but, like, literally, you can say, like, any weird thing in Zestiria, and, like, it fucking happened. And it just happens apropos of nothing. Fucking Diesel's dead now. Put on his hat, you're Slash. I will never forget. So there's this moment where one of your main characters, Dezel, dies. And
spoiler alert.
We already said that at the start of this video. And so you're fucking, like, this other guy who's been a Persona rip-off bullshit asshole the whole game comes and puts on his hat. And the guy I was playing the game with, he looked at him and said, is that Slash? And I looked and I was like, motherfucker, it's fucking Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Oh, God.
Am I wrong? Does he not look like fucking Slash?
No, he looks like Slash.
Yeah, because it's fucking Slash.
When you told me that, I thought you were referring to Dezel, because I had just gotten Dezel.
No, that's probably Axl Rose. Fucking Slash is just taking his goddamn hat back.
The game made no sense, and it was such a bummer for me, because there were so many places where I was like, it could be good. It could be so good.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
for sure.
I'll tell the viewers this: I started the game and I said, "Oh yeah, this is really really good. I'm really really enjoying this. I really want to I want to play and I want to get more and more into it." And then I don't know, I got through the first. Man, is it even the first battle? Not like the first fight or anything. Like the story, the battle between the two nations. I got through it, and got to the other side, and I was like, oh, well, this Rose Girl's pretty cool, I guess. And then I got to the first town there, and I stopped. And I didn't pick it up for exactly a year.
Yeah, because I came back and you were having trouble with that boss, so I beat it for you. And, like, all the while, this motherfucker was still, like, not at the very end there, but, like, as I was beating the game and saying, you gotta finish this shit, it's horrible, you were like, I don't know, man, the beginning's still really good. Like, you don't know until you get in deep enough into the game, you know?
So, when I say the beginning is really good, I really now only mean like, as we've said, the first hour.
Oh, yeah, in retrospect, it's all fucked.
Oh, yeah, like, everything afterwards is just nonsense. It's...
You know the fucking moment where I decided, fuck this game? I'll fucking tell you.
What was it when you met Slash?
No, that was...
Oh, yeah, I know, that was well...
Fuck this game. And that was just the moment where I'm like, how deep is this grave? Okay, so, like, early on in the first city, it's called Lady Lake, and there's this organization of bad guys, and you walk into this room, and you're greeted by these 4 evil old men. Like, I have never in my goddamn life seen 4 old men that look that fucking evil. And the first thing, again, the guy and I was playing the game with, I don't remember which one of us said it, but one of us is like, who's this fucking Sinister Four? And, like, I was genuinely stoked on the Sinister Four. Like, we got 4 of these old, bald-ass motherfuckers, and, like, one's like, I'm the Pope, and I'm old and spooky. And, like, seriously, it was the evilest 4 men ever. And I was like, if this is where we're going, okay, I just, like, what's gonna happen? And, like, an hour and a half later, I realized that they'd never brought up the Sinister Four again.
No.
And I was like, okay... So when are we going to get more of the Sinister Four? And I just kept thinking about it, and it just kept occurring to me. And then we finished the game, and we never saw them again. They were never even mentioned.
Dude, you can't even go back to that dungeon.
No.
Like, it's unavailable for the entire game.
Without seeing the scene, it's hard, because literally it feels like, oh, these are the bad guys. I just met the ultimate villains of the game. Under-designed old white men. But then they're just gone.
Yeah.
Gramps' hand.
Dude, okay, so, I mean, I think what really started doing it for me was, we're kind of doing what we did with Graces and just ragging on it, and I'm going to continue ragging on it instead of praising it for the battles.
Oh yeah, fuck that game.
Dude,
fuck Zestiria.
So, holy shit. So the battle system is stupid. First of all, the camera is broken. And by broken, what I really mean is, in every other Tales game, the camera follows the character. Always. That way you know where you are. In this Tales game, they decided, they said, why don't we have the camera follow the enemy that you're targeting?
Why don't we have the camera follow God's anus?
I cannot count the number of times I lost who I was playing because I couldn't see them. I would just mash buttons until I won. Except for that one fight.
Gillis and I, we played it 2-player.
Oh god, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was trying to split the screen between which enemy I was targeting and which one he was targeting. Like, that was fucking terrible.
God. And then the battle system itself was just awful. Like, oh god.
The battle system was like if somebody played Graces and said, I want to make this accessible to my personal mental disability. And, I don't know exactly what that means, so don't, nail me to a cross for it, but, somebody with some totally unknown condition needed Graces adapted, and it does not work for any other human. Somebody had some sort of thing where they identify as a snake, and they're like, this battle system needs to be available to snake people, and, I don't understand what fucking subhuman was supposed to like Zestiria's battle system, but fuck, it is bad.
And boy,
it is so bad.
And moving on from the battle system, oh my god, the characters were so bad.
Fuck. Even the characters I'd like to like in something else, when I really think about it, if you translated them to something good, they'd be the worst character.
No, okay, so, it got so bad that I like skits, I groaned when I even saw that they were available on screen.
yeah.
I was like, oh no, I don't want to listen to this. Then I would go and do it.
Yep. Because you have to. What if it got good without you knowing?
It didn't. It continued to deliver shit.
The number of times in Zestiria that the story didn't look at itself in a mirror was incredible. Like, you brought up the one where you go into the desert and you fight Tiamat for some fucking reason. Like, why the fuck is there a dragon now?
So
and
there
the
was
leaders
that one
are like,
NPC.
we're going to have a press conference later to be friends, but they're standing right next to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. But remember, with Tiamat, there was that... I mean, you didn't even know. There was an NPC that you could talk to, and she's like, this weird cat thing, Kittybeard, kidnapped my husband or whatever. And I was like, wait, Seraph have husbands? Okay, sure, why not? Or, like, they married?
There's no rules.
I mean, I guess. And I hope he's going to be okay down there. And I'm like, wait, why are we fighting each other? Like, what's happening? And then, like, it was like 2 hours later for me. And then Dragon. And I'm like, oh, I get it. That makes no sense. Why the fuck is he here? It felt like they were trying to build it up to be...
Yeah, like it was going to be some big fucking final boss.
Yeah, or not even just like
That's
the final
every
boss
fight.
of like this was like a character that you were supposed to have known about.
Yeah.
And now he's suddenly a dragon and you have to kill him. And then... yeah, it just...
But that's like
it made no
literally
sense.
every bit of the fucking game is just, oh, isn't this important now? And you look at it and you go, no, is it?
No, I mean... And then...
Hysteria is a perfect argument against anarchy. Like, if somebody's like, anarchy's the best, it'd be great if there were no rules. Show them Hysteria and be like, this is what happens when writing has no rules.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure what happened was they said, all right, everybody write down your ideas. We're going to throw them into the hat, and then we're going to pull them all out and use all of them. They weren't going to just pick them out of the hat one by one and say, like, yeah, that's a good idea. Or, no, it's not. No, we're just going to dump them all right back out.
You remember that Key and Peele skit that Social reused in our Senran Kagura video of everybody's idea? Lightning waifu, just like, it's that. Just, what's your idea? Perfect, good, signed, done. It's in the film. Just,
oh, God.
God, Hysteria, like, I can't. Here's the thing, is like, for all of my problems with Graces or even Vesperia, it's like, when I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I understand how somebody could really like this. There's things I like about this. I don't understand how anybody could defend Hysteria.
I don't understand how anybody found Dezel's death sad.
Right?
I just went, oh, he's dead now?
I'm not gonna lie, I cried when Dezel died, but not because I was sad, because I was really fucking angry.
I was just like, wait, we shot a gun that was Dezel? What?
Yeah, just, I was 100% nothing but rage. I was so frustrated by the events that, like, I literally was just tearing in frustration. I can't remember the last time a game made me as mad as Hysteria. This would be a great time to say, I keep a running list of my top and bottom games. You know what my number one worst game of all time is?
It's not Hysteria, is it?
It is.
It is?
It is.
I thought that was going to be like number 2, and you were going to say something like Kingdom Hearts, 3 or something.
No, fuck no. Hysteria is it. It's the worst.
Wait, but you really didn't
fathom...
like Birth by Sleep.
No, but I... At least... Well, no, Birth by Sleep didn't make any fucking sense either, but that's a different video.
Yeah.
No, Hysteria is just literally, like, I cannot fathom a game that makes less sense than that.
I mean, I'm right there with you. It made no sense.
I get a headache when I think about Hysteria. My brain, my body revolts at the idea of thinking about it. Like, with no exaggeration, it fills me with physical illness goddamn is it terrible. You haven't finished the expansion, but you seem to be enjoying it. I hated it worse than the base game.
See, I hate the combat still because the combat's terrible. It's also made even more terrible because you don't have a fucking res spell, and because, they decided to give the characters the ability to res each other by fusing them, but then you're given a character who can't fuse. And I'm like, all right, it'd be really great if, what's her name? Alicia. I'm waiting for Alicia to get the fuse ability. Can we please give Alicia the fuse ability? Hey, game, I'd really like Alicia to have the fuse ability. No.
I don't know, man. Like, I honestly think that the DLC, like, even content-wise, is just so much worse. Because it assumes that I care about Zestiria, which is about the worst insult you can lodge at a person.
You're
like,
right.
If I wanted to say something really nasty to somebody, I'd be like, you know what, Oliver? I'll bet you liked Zestiria. I'll bet you cared about these characters.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, see, like, it's not even a funny joke.
No. Also, you know what was hilarious?
Huh.
It's what you said to me of the final boss was supposed to be Edna's brother.
Oh, yeah. No, it absolutely feels that way, but it's not. It's Kittybeard Gramps Hand.
No, it's Kittybeard Gramps Hand and then Kittybeard Dragon. Because they were like, oh, right, we were going to have the dragon be the final boss, Edna's brother, but that's out.
So, like, if you're a Tales fan watching this, which I don't know who's going to, like, I feel like I've said enough inflammatory things that Tales fans are going to be mad at me and maybe not still watching, but I'm fingers crossed.
I mean,
you probably know that the logos always have, something to do with the events of the game and the plot, and it usually makes a lot of sense when you finish the game and then stare at the logo. My point is just that the opening, they talk about the Lord of Calamity and show a dragon flying past, which is pretty suggestive. And then the symbol for the game has a dragon on it, which is very suggestive. And even in his dragon form, Kittybeard is clearly not that dragon, but Aizen is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, the whole dragon on the battlefield, I felt like that was supposed to be more. Like, there was supposed to be more significance to that. And it was just...
I think they just lost their way.
Yeah.
Like, they just clearly... It's like every few days they just tagged out on the writing and had a rule that they couldn't read what the last person wrote.
That sounds like the best way.
It's a great way to write a story, everybody.
Yeah.
This is how I'd write mine.
So, should we move on to the much better game?
Yeah, let's wrap this up. So at time of writing, neither of us have completed it.
Yeah,
though, right?
And I actually kind of want to... I have a little bit for this.
Oh, please.
Okay, so Spencer, here's what I think happened. I think that when, Namco Tales Studio they were kind of split into two teams. But they said, you know what, we want to make 2 games that are related to each other. So they had both teams come together and say, all right, we're going to make these 2 games. We'll call them X and Y. And, well, Berseria and Zestiria. And they'll be set in the same world and blah, blah, blah. All right, so Team B, you're going to make the Zestiria game. And it's going to come out first. And then Team A, the A team, the good one, you're going to make Berseria. And that's going to come out afterwards. But it's going to be a prequel. And we should, everything should be good. We want it to, the games to have some reference. We want Berseria to have some reference to Zestiria, even though it's a prequel, and blah, blah, blah. So you guys go off now and make these games. And they gave Team B, 4 years to do it. And they gave Team A 6 years to do it. But here's the thing. Team A and Team B never really talked after that until Team B finished Zestiria and said, hey, Team A, here's Zestiria. And Team A started playing it and went, oh, no. Oh, no, what did you do? And they were like, no, it's okay, it gets better. And they kept playing it and went, no, it doesn't get better. What did you do? And then they're like, we have to prequel this? What? Are you guys kidding us? What? How do we follow this up in any meaningful way? Ah! And then some manager came in and said, "No, you have to prequel it. You cannot make Berseria its own game." And they go, "Oh God, all right, fine. Okay, well, we'll just have some character, like we'll just make some reference." And then the manager came back and said, "No, you have to have a character in the game from Zestiria." So Team A said, all right, fine. We'll take Lila. I don't know why they said that, but they did. And the manager said, okay, that's fine. Unfortunately, the Japanese voice actor for Lila then died. And they went, oh, fuck. We can't use Lila. This is bad. All right, Slash. We'll take Slash.
I feel like the conversation went almost like that, except they're like, we'll take Lila. And they're like, no, but we do still have the license for Slash from Guns N' Roses. He needs an extra meal.
No, actually, honestly, I think it was supposed to be Lila. Because...
It makes sense.
Because if you look at Sarah's, she looks way too much like Lila.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Sarah's was supposed to be Lila, and that this was going to be Lila breaking from the Shepherd. And it would have been a game like Lila. I don't think would have been a playable character, but she would have been around.
Yeah.
And
sure.
you were going to learn like more about her and who she was and how she formed as a
secret she
thing.
Never tells Saray.
But then the Japanese voice actor died and they couldn't do it. So they just killed her off and brought Slash back.
So like my real quick spiel on Berseria, because I haven't finished it, so I don't want to have too many broad sweeping opinions. Right now, I really like it. I really like the story it's telling. I really like how it's telling it. I like the fact that it makes me excited about all the Zestiria references, despite my obvious hatred for Zestiria. That being said, the one flaw it does have is that anytime you have to think about Zestiria, you're suddenly having a really bad time.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make, like, anytime you have to think about how things relate to Zestiria, it quits making sense. That's what happens. It's related to Zestiria.
Yeah. But I think that they tried to cover that up too.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think Team A said, this is so bad. We'll have some core elements relate, but, like, we gotta do something else.
But we can't do this.
And, like, I mean, spoilers a little bit. They are heavily referencing Symphonia and Fantasia.
Yeah.
And it's really making me think that they wanted to set this in that same world.
Yeah, but to be fair, Graces does that with Vesperia a lot. And those probably aren't in the same world.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know, like, I could see it going a number of ways. I'll be excited what they do with it. They could do it.
Yeah. I mean, but, like,
Wouldn't
they're
really
like...
bother me if they did.
I mean, I found a fucking statue of Martel. Come on, man.
Yeah. No, like, they could definitely do it. And again, it wouldn't really bother me if they did.
Yeah.
I'm not lobbying for it, but it wouldn't bug me if they did. I really like the game. I want to give Velvet a really big hug.
Oh, yes. I love every single one of those characters.
Yeah.
They are so good.
It's weird because my first concern playing the game was, how is this character going to have a, cast of supporting characters? Oh, by having the B team Angry Reject team. I love it.
Yeah.
I genuinely do. It's the mature Tales I've wanted for a long time. I've wanted Tales to grow with me for a really long time, and in Xillia and Xillia 2 it did, and I felt like in Zestiria it regressed. When I played Zestiria, I felt like I was just imagining things in Xillia. Tales is not a game that's going to grow with me and mature with me, and I was wrong. Zestiria is just a one-off, and that's a really good feeling.
Yeah.
Even if Berseria doesn't end well, even if it doesn't have a great ending, even if it takes a downward curve, it's still proven to me that Tales is not, a forlorn series anymore.
Yeah, Zestiria was just... It was so bad. And this is just...
In honor of their 22nd anniversary, they decided to apologize for shitting in my mouth 2 years ago.
God. And I mean, yeah, I love Berseria. I'm gonna keep raving about the characters. Even I even love Magilu. Like,
Yeah.
I just
Oh, I absolutely love her. She
oh
needed to be in the game. She's what keeps the game from being too grimdark.
yeah, but like she's not even that like funny or anything. It's
No.
just like I love everybody's motivations of like, the kid was literally kidnapped. Velvet wants one thing, and that is to murder somebody. And that like the Rokuro is like, yeah, you saved my life, so I'll hang out. Aizen is like, I got a ship. And then Magilu is just like, I got nothing better to do. I'll hang out.
No, like I really, really like it. I like all the characters. I like the fact that they're really inconsistent with the tone, but in a good way. Like, it's never too dark for too long, but it's not afraid to be dark. It's never too lighthearted and jolly for too long, but it's not afraid to be lighthearted and jolly. Like, they're really, really good at balancing out the tones of the game.
Yeah.
It just
And the
overall,
combat.
like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, the combat is the perfect mix of Graces and Zillia. Like, it really is.
Yeah. It's also the first game that I am playing on like fully manual.
Mm.
Because I was playing it in semi, and I was like, God damn it, like the enemies are still doing a little bit of what they did in Zestiria of like really switching around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then that causes them to get into each other's way, and then they block, and then ugh. So I just switched to manual, and it made it such a better experience because I could just attack anything. And occasionally your moves get directed at the thing that you're targeting, but you don't have to be like right in front of it, if you know what I mean. You can attack something to your side.
I tried manual for a bit. I've been enjoying the semi-auto, but I flip-flop.
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed it. Also, the fact that it's so much different from any of the other systems because you're always in free run.
Yeah, no, like it doesn't feel like it has some sort of arbitrary anchor. It's just really good.
Yeah.
I can't believe that it came out 2 years after Zestiria and is so much better. It's more like a year and a half, really. It's really incredible. I'm relieved because I was expecting it to be really trash, and I found myself just in the prologue section absorbed in it in a way that I haven't been absorbed in anything for a while. It's a fighter. If the game resolves the way I hope it will, which honestly is going to be with a lot of guts and gore, because with all the references to the other games, of course this can't have a happy-go-lucky ending.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking forward to it.
If it does what I want it to do, it's gonna be game of a lifetime.
Could very well be.
If it's the grimdark tales I've always wished for. No. Yeah. Grimdark tales I've always wished for was Zillia too. This is just, a follow-up. A worthy follow-up.
Yeah.
If only it wasn't set as a prequel to Zestiria. It's the one thing that would make it just even better.
Again, I'm pretty sure that the manager said, no, you have to keep that. And they're like, no, we really don't want to.
No, I don't think it was their choice. But you know what we can look forward to in the future?
Cold Steel 3?
Well, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say, when are we going to do the Trails podcast?
Soon. That's a thing that's going to happen. But I want to end this podcast on a positive note. Zestiria 2 is coming out. We don't know when, but it is. So one day, Saray is going to climb out of that hole and join up with old Micleo.
No, you mean old Meebo. We're going to have a brand new
adventure. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Can we list some of the nicknames that I've been sending you?
Please.
Okay, so ahead. I think I've called Micleo Meebo because that was fantastic. Thank you, Edna. He is also the idiot. He's also the whiner. I think I called him Mickey Mouse, and Mickey-O, and sometimes just Mick.
My favorite
Saray is
Mick.
just stupid.
I always call it. Started off as autocorrect, but I always call Saray
Sorry. Yes. And then Sorry showed up. Let's see. Rose was always Rose because I liked Rose. She deserved a better Tails game. Diesel was, well,
Diesel's my
sorry,
favorite.
I couldn't even say his real name.
It's
'Cause
Diesel.
It's just Diesel
His
to
real
me.
name's Diesel.
So Dezel, of course, became Diesel. I think I also called him Fuel.
Yeah, but Diesel's the best.
Yeah. And what? Oh yeah, and Bezel. I called him Bezel. Or Embezzle as well. Bezel and Embezzle. Oh geez. And then Ed was of course Salt and Lolly and Salty Lolly and Lolly.
Salty Lolly is our patron saint.
And then Lila was, Puns.
Nothing.
I don't know. I didn't really have any nicknames for her.
Annoying.
Occasionally funny. I laughed a couple times.
We all know Zavid's nickname. We don't even need to say it.
Wait, his name's not Slash?
Exactly.
It's just like with Diesel. Wait, I mean Dezel. No, I meant Diesel.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I'm looking forward to the day that Saray climbs out of his hole, grabs and probably passionately kisses his brother Bitch Leo, and Guns N' Roses rides again.
Oh god. I really
I
hope
don't know
Edna
why,
shows up
but-
too, just to beat Meebo. Because
I feel
you
like-
know all the texts that I sent you.
Oh, yeah. No, I feel like the day that Zestiria 2 comes out, I'm going to need to buy a gun, and I don't know what for. But, like, I'm just like, I need something to defend myself.
So, after I was playing more of Zestiria to finish it, I said to myself, I don't think I can play Berseria. But then I thought, I need to play Berseria. I have to not believe that the Tales series is gonna get worse than this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care if Berseria, doesn't make sense, as long as it doesn't do Zestiria.
Yeah, no, and I don't think it can. Like, that's a special maneuver.
Yeah.
Also, I think they're letting off steam with the Zestiria animated series that's coming out right now simultaneously. So, like, I think they're just, getting it out somewhere else.
See, I knew about the movie.
Yeah,
You'd
no,
never mentioned the animated series.
Simultaneously, it started the same day Berseria was released. There's an animated, I think it's just an OVA for Berseria.
Oh, for
and there's
Berseria.
No, but there's also an animated series for Zestiria that follows up after Dawn of the Shepherd. Because apparently people were insulted with the way Dawn of the Shepherd just,
Ended?
redid the first hour and a half of the fucking game.
I thought it was just the first hour and a half of the game.
It is. So the rest of the animated series, you'll never guess what it is.
It's the rest of the game, isn't it?
Sure is.
Oh, no.
So I think they're letting off steam somewhere else.
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah, you haven't seen the commercial
No.
for Berseria. I'm not gonna lie. It would, if I was somebody who had never played a Tales game and I saw the commercial, I would go, wow, that looks like shit. Because
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
yeah, no, it is
I mean,
stock.
the advertisements for Kingdom Hearts aren't very good.
No, like, it is, let me tell you first, it is in 4x3.
Oh, God.
And not even like 4x3, they did the proportioning right. No, it was supposed to be widescreen, and then they made it 4x3.
Christ.
Furthermore, it looks like it's being displayed on an old TV. Like, the colors are just washed out.
Again, for some reason, this doesn't really surprise me that the advertisement's bad. I mean, maybe that's what they had to do. Like, that's the pact they made with the devil is, hey, the game's all right, so the advertisement's gotta suck, says Satan. And they're like, okay.
Well, so it gets better from there.
Oh, God. It's not allowed to. Come
on. They intercut bits of, gameplay footage with stock footage of clouds with 3D text.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. It's so bad. And they're like, and it's just like, blah, 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 save the world, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, I'm really glad I know that this is not what the game is.
I'm glad I started playing it before I saw the ads, for sure.
I'm pretty sure that they handed the marketing team a shoestring. They didn't give them a shoestring budget. They gave them a shoestring and said, all right, make an ad with this.
Here's your budget. Sell this for budget money. I found it in my closet. But no, at the very least, I mean, Berseria is fun and all, but what I'm really looking forward to is, madness. Zestiria 2. Dawn of the Shepherd.
Dawn of the Redawn of the Dawn of the Shepherd.
Dawn of the Redawn of what the fuck happened to that other lolly, though, for real.
I mean...
Simone.
Was that her name?
Yep.
I mean, all I know is that she couldn't kill us for whatever reason.
Gillis kept calling her Raven Simone, and that was the lasting joke.
I mean, at the end, she was just a crybaby.
Yeah, literally.
I was like, wait, we met you like 2 hours ago. What?
Well, all in all, here's the question to end the night. What's your favorite Tales game and what's your least favorite? It's not a very hard question for either of us.
No, it really isn't. My favorite Tales game as of this moment is Xillia. There's a lot I don't like about it, but there's a lot that I do, and it's just so good. The characters are fantastic together. The story is believable. The hardship, the heartache. It's I love Xillia. Berseria, sure. I'm reserving judgment until I finish it, but it is at this moment a very close second. If not first. If it doesn't fall on its face at the end, then it might be my favorite Tales game.
I'm right there with you, and that's like Xillia 2 is my favorite. You should really play that after.
I know, I really need
to. It's Berseria is definitely like it's coming in close. We'll see. It's gonna really it'll be a photo finish if it doesn't fall on its face. Now, Oliver, I know this is a tough question, but what do you think your least favorite Tales game is?
Man, if you had asked me this before I played Zestiria, I would have said Graces. But no, Graces had redeeming qualities.
Yep.
Zestiria does not.
If you asked me before I played Tales of Zestiria, the Sinister Four, what my least favorite game was, I would have told you Tales of the Abyss. But just the same, like, Zestiria blows it out of the water so hard that I can't fathom how that they made that game.
Yeah. I can't
don't
fathom
even feel like
how
I read
people
the rough
like
draft. I feel like I read the brainstorming session. At time of writing, let's see, how many people are we going to make mad?
Dear I mean, Metacritic. Everybody?
Well, yeah, but I want to see Tales of Zestiria.
Yeah, how did that do?
It has a 72.
Are you kidding me?
It has a 6.8 for the user score. So, yeah, I think actually we're not going to make that many people mad.
It's still, like, that's more than I thought. I thought it was going to get a 4.
actually, this review from Telegraph that gave it a 40, this is actually exactly how I feel. So I'm just going to read this, and this will be what I'm going to end on.
Okay.
Tales of Zestiria is a profound disappointment and does not deserve the time investment that this huge game requires.
I want to bring
Perfect.
up my Steam and see how many hours I've put into it.
That's a
Oh my
dangerous
god,
game.
I put 55 hours into the game.
And on that bombshell, thank you for joining us for this not inaugural but first recorded episode of There May Be Salt. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this around. Really, the two of us would love to hear your feedback, even if your feedback is, hey, fuck you, that was really a great game.
Yeah. Also,
So,
for contrast, I've already put in 25 hours into Berseria, and I love every second of it.
nice. No, so thanks again for watching, everybody. I'm signing off.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's not like anybody else is here. I'm going to stop my recording.